The next Microsoft Excel skill that you must know how to use, this is super important, is the pivot tables. Right? So the pivot table are tables which summarizes and allow you to count, sum, and average amongst other calculations according to the data you require. When you know how to do this, it becomes even easier to crunch your data and create reports that your business needs. Okay, now before you can actually go ahead to use the pivot table, what you need to do is to first off to convert your set of data to a table. Now looking at my screen here, this might look like a table, but it's not actually a table yet. All right, so we need to change it to a table. And a very fast way of changing it to a table is hitting Ctrl and T on our keyboard. So this brings this create a table dialog box, and it asks you, where is the data for your table? Definitely is what has been selected here. And also you have to confirm if your table has headers, which in this case our table has headers. So you hit OK, and you notice that our data is now formally a table, and the name of this table is table 3. So let us go ahead to change this table 3 by renaming it what? Pivot 1. Okay, so pivot, or okay, let's say just pivot table. So once you are through, just hit OK. It's as simple as that. So our table is good to go. And from here, we can summarize this table with pivot table. How about that? So let us see how powerful this can be. So just click on that and to bring up this dialog box, which says choose the data that you want to analyze. Definitely is the data from this our table, pivot table. And it also says choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. So we want it to be on a new worksheet. It's always ideal for you to move it to a new worksheet. Supposing your set of data is small, which is unlikely, then you can continue with the existing worksheet. Now you hit OK. So this is your pivot table where you can do all the magic, and it automatically creates a new sheet for you. Let us go ahead to just rename this as our pivot table or pivot summary. All right, so let's just call this pivot summary. So once you have done this, you notice that once I click outside this pivot table, okay, every other thing in this, the pivot table fields disappear. All right, but I must make sure that the pivot table is selected for me to be able to work with this. All right, now you notice that I have the different field represented in this place, and one thing you can do with the pivot table is to move it into these areas. All right, either filters, columns, values, rows. So I keep on telling my students, I keep on telling my viewers that there is no single way to present your data using pivot table. Is that right? So just moving this set of data to these different areas is how you can slice and dice your data, which is what pivot table is actually used for. So let us go ahead with it. Supposing we want to select this by region, let us see by region. We want to see how many sales or how many units were sold by region. So let us see if our region is in filter, then let us see units sold is in value. So most numeric item is actually placed in value. So for all region, the total units sold is 108, 497 of the total of all those items. So you can click this drop down arrow to select Europe and hit OK to see how this goes. But supposing we want to see everything at a glance, how do we do that? Now you can move this from filters to column to see how it is. All right. Now you now notice that everything is spread out, but it is still not visually presented because I still have to like scroll to the end before I can see grand total and all that. So what if you move this to the rows? Wow, how about this? How about this? So you can now see that Asia sums of units sold is 26,320. Australia and Oceania is this, and all that summary. How about this? So there are different ways you can actually present your data by moving the fields around the different areas. All right. Now, supposing we now go ahead to also check the different units sold for different items. So let us see item type. So if you put item type here, anything you put under filter can only be used for filtering. So if you select baby food, it will just show you the countries that sold baby food as well as the units sold. Is all right? Then if you select meat, it will show you the countries that sold meat as well as the units sold for meat. So I can just select all to make sure that everything is selected. Now you can move this under the rows to see each of the countries or the regions as well as the different item type that was sold. Remember, some of the item types does not appear in some regions. All right. So like Australia and Oceania only have clothes sold, but no cereal, no snacks, and all that. Now, the one that is on top actually matters. Now, in this case, you are trying to tell you that region has an upper hand over item type. Now, supposing you now go ahead to move item type to the top of this, you now notice that it will now categorize it such that for baby food, the only two countries that are under baby food is this, right? So, but let us move this down. So this is the power of pivot table. And at any time you want to remove any of this, just click on it and you see remove, or you can just drag it out, okay, and it will just go off like that. Very, very easy. Then you can just drag it also into here. So when you see this cross, that means it's going. That is just the summary on how to use pivot table. There's a whole lot also that you can do here. Now, the next thing we're going to be looking at is the pivot chart. Okay, so let us just go ahead to remove this and leave it as region. Then let us see if we move country. Let us see if we move country to here. Okay, so let us just leave this as this and let us see how it goes. So let us go ahead to look at pivot charts. So pivot charts are another form of Excel chart. So it allows you to simplify complex data so that it's easy to digest. Pivot charts are very similar to traditional charts. They have categories and data series, but they are different because they have interactive filters that allows you to gain access to more information quickly. How about that? Now, supposing we just go ahead to put this item type to, let's say, filters, so that we can filter accordingly. Let's say for beverages, you can filter, right? Let's say for office supplies, you can filter. So let us see how we can use pivot chart to visually see this. It makes it more interactive. So what you just need to do is to go to what? Analyze part of your menu bar. All right. So when you're working with pivot table, this new extra menu bar comes up. Design and analyze. Go to the analyze section, then you see pivot chart. Is all right? Now, one other thing you can do is you can check out recommended pivot tables. When you click it, you see a whole lot of recommended pivot table. All right, so you can just select it to see the sum of total costs, sum of total revenue, and all that. So this is just some of many of the things, and you can see the sum by just moving those fields to the different areas. So there are a whole lot of recommended tables that you can work with. So that shows you the power of pivot table. I so much love pivot table because it gives you the summary that you need. So let us hit on pivot chart and it brings this up for you. So it says what? These are the different options, just like your traditional chart. It's just that in this case, it's more interactive. So let us select this simple clustered column chart or the bar chart. So you hit OK. Now it brings this up to you. How about that? How about that? So this is beautiful, beautiful. Now you notice that you have still this item. You can filter by this item type. Now you have the names of the country. and it's separated by the different regions. So let us move this chart to a new worksheet, and so that we'll have a more bigger visual view. All right, so hit OK. So let us move it to a new worksheet. Now, supposing we just go ahead to this item type and want to filter by clothes only. So you hit enter. I notice that these are the different countries as well as their regions that only sell cloth items. So supposing we want to filter by cosmetics. So if you want to select multiple, can select this. So you notice that it will just be adding up as the case may be. So it's interactive, if you notice, right? So the data changing and you can see it, right? So that is very, very awesome. That is very, very awesome, right? So as you're adding the data, it will be adding up accordingly. So that is pivot chart. That is what the main things you can do with pivot chart. And at any time, if you decide to remove this filter, okay, so if you decide to remove this filter, you notice that it also applies to your pivot chart. All right, so you can still go ahead to do a whole lot of things. Maybe let's say sales channel. Let's say sales channel, and we'll put sales channel here. And let's just leave this as this. Let us go back to this. Supposing you just come here and you choose offline, okay, then hit OK. You notice that it will change accordingly. So if I put online and hit OK, it will change accordingly. So that is pivot chart. As you are working on your pivot table, also it is being translated to the chart. How easy can this be? Microsoft Excel skills for professionals.